How was your vacation, by the way?
Um, I had a good time. We did a camping trip, but we weren't allowed to have fires up there and it was kind of cold. So camping without a fire is not really that much fun.
Right, on top of COVID, no fire.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So we were happy to go somewhere though. So that was good.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, tell us what's going on in the local market.
Okay, so I'm pulling up our little slideshow here for our housing market report, talking about how to sell your home during the pandemic. We're going to take a look at the current market. So, what's happening locally and at the national level? We still see some buyers a little bit holding out, thinking about, there might be a crash coming, but they're kind of drawn in because mortgage rates are low. So they have a little bit of like fear of missing out, and also they're home more. So a lot of people who have been renting, I've been hearing them kind of feeling like they're ready to just bite the bullet, and they recognize they stay at home all the time and they're working from home and they need more space.
Right,
I
and
think
everybody needs an office now. And
right.
by the way, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but the market's not going to crash.
Okay.
It's
I don't think so. I think it's wishful thinking that a lot of people have. So what's happening right now is inventory is low. Foreclosures are also low. I mean, there's still programs out there stopping banks from being able to foreclose. People have more equity in their homes than they used to. So there's a lot going on. But let's take a look. We're going to look at for October. This is LA County housing inventory, and if you see here, this darker green bar is the number of homes sold, and this was last month, October. So we had 6,450 homes sold. Comparing that to last year, it was 5,739 in October. This red line are the homes that are pending. So those are homes that are going to be sold soon. And then this is the number of homes that are on the market, 10,789 versus 12,000 for October last year. So there's a big drop in the number of people listing, and there's an increase in the number of people actually selling. Orange County, I thought was very interesting this month because they have a very, very low ratio of what's going up. Almost everything that they're putting up is being sold. So
yeah,
it's really fascinating. And they also have way more homes selling than at the same, if you compare, these are the previous 3 months and the previous 3 months from 2019. And then
yeah.
20.
That really narrow absorption differential is the sign of an exceptionally hot market. So
Yeah,
that's really showing you that Orange County market is a market people really want to be in. There's probably a lot of fleeing from the urban areas to Orange County, especially you don't
yes.
have to commute to LA. Why not live in someplace nice on the hills with a golf course in your backyard?
Exactly, exactly. In fact, I have a family that I've been talking to, and Orange County is there. They live in Pasadena now, and they can get, newer homes with, more kind of planned development type features for people.
Right.
It's a big draw. They can get more home for their money there. So you can really see how the homes that are out are selling. They're selling fast there. Pasadena, we also are seeing an increase. So in October, we had 157 homes sell, which was a jump even from the previous month. Um,
And from the previous year.
yes, and from the previous year. And I have in here as well. I have a 3-year comparison for October's. But Pasadena, we have more homes are coming on the market again. We're seeing people that are more willing to list here, and I think again that what you're seeing is some people who are saying, look, I'm going to be able to keep working from home, and I'm going to sell and go to another area that's maybe less congested and where I can get more.
Well, and probably also like the same thing happened in the Great Recession, that the auto market had these super low numbers, and then they rebounded and had super high numbers in 2014, 15, 16. And the reason for that was that the demand didn't go away, it just got pent up. And so you can see that dip from December to April. That's all pent up demand. Those are people who didn't make a move during the COVID height, who waited to see what was going to happen. But people retire, kids graduate from school, life happens, and so you're seeing that big bump. That's awesome. That means things are kind of returning to normal.
Yes. Yeah. I felt happy when I saw that because, for those 2 months in September and August, it looked like they were dipping a little bit, but we've jumped back up for October.
Right.
And then the price per square foot in Pasadena, this is for all residential. So this includes both single family homes, condos, and townhomes. The price per square foot did jump up a little bit between September and October. And comparing the last 3 years of single family, this is for single family residences. You can see that they kind of were pretty much on the level October of 2018 and 2019, but in 2020 we have a 13.5% increase price per square foot.
That's amazing.
So yeah, I think that that's a really positive sign for the Pasadena market.
Yeah, positive that inventory is now inching back up, and so is cost per square foot. Those would normally be opposed, and I think I know the reason why. I'll share with you in a minute.
Okay, and then this is, I think this is my last slide about the housing market ones. So what we're seeing here in Pasadena is more closings and faster closings. So in 2018, these blue squares, this is 2018 in October, there were 127 homes closed. 2019, that increased by almost 5% to 133. And then in 2020, we had 157, so it's an 18% increase. And then the orange line here is showing us the average number of days on the market. So homes are selling, again, very quickly. For the past 3 months, they've been selling 30, 32, and then 29 days. So they're selling almost half, pretty close to getting like where they're half of what they were on the market for last year. So if you put something up, we have a really strong chance that we're going to sell it pretty quickly for you, and you'll be able to.
Yeah, and I think that's really skewed by the number of cash buyers that are out there. So there's so much cash in the market, so many people who've accumulated so much money in the last 6 months that they're just looking for places to put it.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what's going on, and we're just continuing to see this where homes are selling fast and they are still selling, strong.
So there's 3 slides and some summary points which kind of, I think, tell us what's going on from a macro point of view. One is that, one of the things which we often overlook, we often think about consumption as the primary driver, and traditionally it has been, because if you have too much money in a system, then you get inflation. But for a variety of reasons, the Fed and the Treasury have put so much money into the system, so many trillions of dollars in the system that didn't used to be there, and without an impact on inflation, that has created this tremendous money supply. So there you see what that graph looks like in terms of how much money is in the United States economy as compared to how much was in the economy before COVID. It's the most money that's ever been in the economy. Next slide.
Okay.
And that just kind of gives you an idea of how much more. Easily 3 times more money in the system as was in the system just 10 months ago.
Right before January.
Right.
And then
and so all of that money, I mean, those are not cumulative. Each one of those is a month indicating how much money. And so obviously in May, when the government started to release all of that relief support, things really jumped up. But then business support started kicking in, and then extended unemployment benefits started kicking in, and then county and state programs started kicking in. And so, as you would expect that money to trickle back out of the economy and get accumulated by banks and in wealth management, it hasn't. It's either been supplemented or it's going back into the economy. And one of the reasons it goes back in the economy is as people accumulate wealth, they're buying second homes. And so the second home sales count as part of the GDP.
Mhm.
So, and the next slide.
Mhm.
And so, all this in spite of this, now we're seeing the third wave of COVID. This is weekly numbers of COVID cases. Here we are with the highest number of COVID cases per day ever, and a curve which is accelerating in the wrong direction. It's getting extremely steep, meaning that it's going to be quite some time before that thing starts to level off. But the difference is the hospitalization rate is like a quarter of what it used to be. So even though there's a record number of COVID cases, there's not as many people being hospitalized, and the death rate is a quarter more. So it's like 16 times lower death rate. So what does this all mean to us? Next slide.
Okay. Oh,
Did you put those points in? Okay, let me just summarize
and you can
what I think this means, and like why this really marries into what you were saying. So what's changing for us right now is that federal relief money that you saw propping up the market for the most part is ending in December. And it's not going to come back online probably till February, March, because of the confusion in the congressional races earlier this month, and the fact that there's still going to be some runoffs and some supplementary court cases, yada, yada, yada. That's going to take some time before the political scene settles. And so nothing's going to really happen until that happens. And we have almost a recession-proof economy right now. I should say an inflation-proof economy, because even though there's a record amount of cash in the system, we don't have inflation. Unemployment benefits are running out for most people. What's the real economic situation, what we're seeing is that poor people are going to continue to get hurt. And that's going to have an impact in second and third tier markets. But the first tier markets are not going to get impacted, I don't think. So you can expect Treasury money to run out, but it won't matter because there's so much money in the system. You can expect that there's going to be a continued tight real estate market as people continue to buy a lot of second homes or third homes. And there's still continuing to be fear about listing homes because of fear of not finding a home, in the price range that people are listing for. And then there's going to be continued low interest rate as the Fed has to do what they can do to prop up the economy, which is down still 3% year to date. And then possible QE from the Fed. QE is quantitative easing, where the Fed might come in and start buying apartment buildings and other residential properties in order to prop up the market if necessary. And then relief from the Treasury in terms of more money coming from Congress. And I think that eventually there's going to be some market corrections. I think that neighborhoods, south of Los Angeles, in San Gabriel Valley, San Fernando Valley, I think are going to probably correct, because there's eventually going to be enough inventory and enough market conditions that it's not going to prop them up any longer. But the beach cities, La Cañada, northern Pasadena, the higher income areas of San Gabriel Valley, I think are going to be pretty much unfazed. I think that people wanting to live from home in a nice neighborhood are going to continue making the better neighborhoods very, very attractive. So I think that's exactly what you're seeing as well.
Yeah. It was interesting to see, what October did bring, because every month you think, well, is it going to keep doing this? Is it going to, reverse? Is it? So I think the holiday season is still going to be a good time to sell. So people maybe have a little more time to get their homes ready. they're kind of in that nesting mode.
Yeah.
So the process of selling during the virus in my neighborhood recently, there was an open house. I saw somebody had an open house sign, which was like the first time I've seen anybody doing an open house. Um, Talking about the process of selling during the virus, we just have to manage people's stress and risks. Selling a home during normal times can be stressful. You're moving your whole family. You have to pack everything up. Choose possibly new neighborhoods, new schools, all that kind of stuff. So what we need to just do is do more planning. We have to stand out from the other homes to be able to appeal and attract those buyers. They're shopping online. They're not just browsing around at open houses. They want to know, what is it going to look like? They're not going to just come and browse. They want to really like the home and almost be ready to buy when they're coming to see it. So those are the things that we can do is stage, use virtual technology, use high-end marketing, things like floor plans and really good virtual tours, so people have a sense of what a home is really like. And with the way that we present a listing, we can really make people feel like they have a sense of your home from the way that we present it. And I think that that's an important thing to do for buyers right now. Sometimes people have great photos, but you have no sense of where things are. They're kind of all over in the listing. And you can lay things out in a way that people really feel like they understand what it's going to be like going into your home. Safe showings, we're talking about, securing a closing. So considering your safety options for the sale, I don't really feel like there's one right way to secure a buyer. What I do is I talk to families to figure out what we need to do specific to your circumstances and develop requirements from there. So, we have certain minimum requirements that we're following as realtors: the virus release form, masks, sanitizers, shoe covers. We're doing virtual walkthroughs and we're limiting visitors to 3 people at a time. And then added measures that you can take if there's, ways that we can do these things. Vacating the home before we're putting it up for buyers to come through. That's obviously going to limit some of your exposure to people coming through the home, even though they're wearing masks. Pre-qualifying your buyers and, targeting virtual open houses to your ideal, shoppers that are looking for homes like yours. So those are things that we can all customize and plan how exactly we can best market your home so that you feel safe and comfortable with the process. And the last component of selling a home, obviously a big thing is the price. So appraisal standards, a lot of people that look at homes and try to figure out, like I showed the square foot. Um, People sometimes have a tendency to say, well, there's this three bedroom home, down the block from your house that sold for this. You also have a 3-bedroom home, it's the same square feet. But we really want to get accurate comparables so that we are comparing apples to apples. And I feel very confident right now that, you can get a good price for your home with multiple offers, by targeting your price and staying competitive, and appealing to the maximum number of buyers with really good high-end marketing, and being aggressive about that, and knowing that we have the comparables to back it up, and saying, let's compare your home and really find one in the surrounding area that is a good fit and a recent sale price. The numbers are there to support some very strong, aggressive prices right now.
Yeah, and I would say that homes at the bottom of the market where traditionally they had trouble selling, because the top of the market usually gets the better attention. They're selling. The bottom is selling right now for cash offers for investors who are looking to pick up inventory.
Hmm.
And the top is selling to homeowners who want the very best and don't want to have to do any construction or anything after moving. They want to move into a perfect lifestyle.
Right.
So my advice to sellers is to aim in one direction or the other. Do nothing, sell your home at the bottom and just get out, because the market's still strong to do that. You'll probably still get a really good deal even for a fixer.
Right.
And then, but if you have time, I think that you're better off shooting for the top of the market, because that's what people want. People want, since they're living at home, working at home, most of the people who are buying are going to want a premium product.
Right. And they are already stressed out as it is in their normal lives, like people who are working from home and have their kids at home. They don't want to add, a home improvement project on top of that. I mean,
Right.
every little tiny thing that you have in your house that you've overlooked and that you think, well, this doesn't matter that much because that's so nice. These folks don't want to have to deal with any of it. They want
Right.
it, you have to fix it and make it look good for them if you want to get that top dollar.
Which, by the way, is something that we help with. I don't want to let that slip away, but we have in-house design capabilities and in-house construction capabilities, and so unlike other real estate firms, which can leave you hanging, if there's a handful of things which we think we can spend $20,000 and add $50,000 of value, we can get that done pretty much in a week or even less if we need to.
That's right. Yeah. And I would love to have those conversations with people if they have little projects that they need to get done and, do a listing agreement with the understanding we're going to get X, Y, and Z done. And this is what the costs are going to be. And this is when we need to do it to hit our target date. Um, we're here to help and look at all those complicated details and just make them happen so that it's not a burden for you to be trying to figure out, who am I going to have do this and who's going to, now I have to have 50 other people that I have to talk to and have come through my house. You can make it easy by doing a kind of a one-stop shopping arrangement, and it's less stressful for you.
Right. Right.
So those are our conclusions. We still feel good timing to sell. If you want to be in a new home for the holidays, we can sell your house fast and help you find a new one.
Yeah, and I think that for folks that are concerned about that, about selling and um, not having a place to go, because the market to sell is so good, the priority is to go and find the house you want to move into.
Mhm.
And then once you're ready to make an offer or you're on the verge of acceptance on an offer, given
Mhm.
how quickly things are selling, you can list while you're closing on your new homes, and you can synchronize the moving process uh, almost seamlessly because of how the timeframes for selling have collapsed.
Right. Yes. Yeah. And I'm also a big fan of moving out of a home. I mean, when I've sold, I've moved almost more times than anybody else because I met my husband. I lived in Pennsylvania. We moved to Tehachapi. We moved to Palmdale. We moved to Pasadena. So I've moved a lot, and I can help people with all kinds of options for logistics. It's great when you can to find to know where you're going to go before you leave. And sometimes it makes sense just to rent for a little while, a short term. I did one where I did a short term rental. I in Pasadena, I rented for a little over a year so that we had time to really find the ideal home for ourselves. That can take time pressure off of you, and,
Right.
make it so that you can get out from what you have and you don't feel that stress of feeling like I have to find the perfect home in 2 weeks.
Well, this has been a good chat. Typical of our chats, we usually go around 30-35 minutes, something like that. So
Good.
thank you for hosting, Lisa.
Thank you. It was good to see you again.